So I've made some videos recently about how I'm annoyed about how the role of women in science and technology has been overemphasized deliberately to give the false impression that women have contributed more than they actually have. I'm thinking that male scientists have contributed far more to our scientific development, and that is simply how it is, and it is not an attempt to be hateful towards women or to not recognise the efforts of women, and just being honest about how things are. And I want to give a comparison to illustrate what I mean and to show why it's false. If we were to have a documentary that was being made about great basketball players playing basketball today, and the documentary would focus on 5 players, let's say, 5 great basketball players, it would be wrong to have anything other than 5 black basketball players in the list of 5 greatest basketball players. They're the only people who should be covered by this documentary. There should be no white basketball players. There should be no Indian basketball players. There should be no Chinese basketball players. Now, all the 5 basketball players who are being shown should be black men. It's simply the way it is. And this is not criticism of Indian basketball players or Chinese basketball players or white basketball players. It's simply that the greatest players are black. And this is reality. It's not being racist or being hateful towards any other group of people or being deliberately favourable to black basketball players. Black basketball players are simply the greatest players, and that this is reality, and this is what I think is important to be honest about. And I don't like the idea of being falsely portrayed as being unfair towards different races for no reason. It is not correct to try and do that, and it is wrong to be false about presentation simply to avoid upsetting people. So in basketball, I'm saying that none of the 5 greatest basketball players would be white or Indian or Chinese. All 5 would be black, and that's simply how it is. And I'm discussing this because it applies to how we are wrong about when we're talking about female scientists, for example. Female scientists are great and they're particularly good at their job, but there's no argument about that. I'm just saying that compared to the efforts of men and the contributions of men, it simply doesn't amount to much, and that's simply how it is. And I think honesty in presentation of reality is very important.